loud so Jenny can get it. Good morning, everyone.
All right, good morning. All right, well, let me start and see if we can share my screen. Can you guys see that okay?
Yep.
All right, perfect. So I figured the people on the call would probably want to know a little bit about the person that is giving the presentation today. So about me by the numbers, 531. So five years that I've been working at Novi AMS and also working remote. So if anybody has questions on that, I'm happy to be a resource. I know there's been a lot of resources out there, so, but yeah, happy to answer any questions there. 3, the number of pounds I've gained from quarantine stress snacking. Yes, it's a real thing. Even though I've been working remote and I know how to eat during the day, this stress snacking is crazy. So yeah, 5'3". And then the last one, I have one dog. His name is Cooper, AKA Coop Dog. I really want to dress him up as Coop Doggy Dog for Halloween. So if anybody finds that wig, like, please send that information my way. So yeah, that's my big guy. So that's a little bit about me. I wanted to get started with some multiple choice, make this a little bit more interactive. So which of the following, we're talking about Asana today, right? How to use Asana, what it's used for. So which of the following do you guys think is the most correct statement about Asana? So A, it allows you to break goals and ideas into actionable tasks. B, it allows you to assign out the work and add deadlines. Or C, it allows your team to communicate in one place to move work forward. Or D, all of the above. What do you guys think?
I'm gonna go for all of the above.
I'm
D.
gonna go with all of the above. D.
All right. Ding, ding, ding. Correct. It is all of the above. Some of the fabulous things about Asana is, again, it's going to allow you to take a project, set clear goals, and then break those goals into actionable tasks. You can assign those tasks and the work out to different teammates. So we'll take a look at that. And then you can also add deadlines on there as well. And it's also one of the things that I like a lot about it is it allows your team to communicate in one place. And we'll talk about the kind of the tool set and how this fits in a moment. All right, so if you didn't get that answer right, or you were scared to answer, you've got one more choice here. So which of the following is not true about Asana? So A, it has the ability to manage multiple projects across various teams. B, improves efficiency and accountability. C, increases collaboration amongst your team. Or D, has the ability to host happy hour on Friday. Which is not true, team?
I'm gonna keep the trend going and say D.
So sad.
I was hoping that was true.
All right, so you're correct. D, it does not have the ability to host happy hour on Friday, but because of your improved efficiencies and the ability to manage these projects and hit goals, I think your team might actually have time to do happy hour on Fridays. So maybe indirectly, D is also the correct answer. Well, it looks like we had somebody else join too. Hi, Evan. Welcome. Feel free to share your camera if you want to jump in. All right, so let's talk a little bit about where Asana fits in a tech tool set. So for a lot of people, you're probably using these 3 things already. You may have a few more, but email obviously is great for communication, but it's not really actionable when it comes down to it. Maybe you're using file sharing such as a Dropbox or SharePoint, which is great for file storage. It's great to be able to go back and reference, but again, it doesn't tie back directly to the project that you're working on itself. And maybe you're using some sort of chat, especially right now with everything that's going on. We use Slack. It's actually probably my favorite tech tool. Asana is a close second. But again, not ideally actionable or easy to search. For instance, from time to time, I'll find myself going through Slack messages, trying to find an answer or a file that somebody sent me when really that probably should have been put into Asana so that we have it to reference back there as well. So where does Asana fit into all of these? I think the fabulous thing about Asana is it kind of pulls all of these resources together so that your team can efficiently work together, accomplish your projects, and you can also integrate some of these other tools that you have in your tool set to make it a little bit easier. So that kind of leads me to my next, but wait, there's more. Asana does integrate with many of the apps and tools that you may already be using. you may want to go and check out their app store if you're looking to evaluate using Asana, or if you're already using Asana, maybe go check that out and see what tools you may be using that you can integrate, especially once you've got Asana kind of working and you've got it at a good, I guess, working capacity, if you will. Adding in some of these tools to help with some of the automation is also pretty cool. So for instance, I've actually got a Slack channel, and anytime Ian writes in for his onboarding and answers a question, I actually see that come through to Melanie, his onboarding specialist. So for me, from a management perspective, I can quickly skim everything that's going on with the projects. Not that I'm doing that with a fine-tooth comb, but it allows me to kind of keep a pulse on everything that's going on there. So any questions? I'll pause on that. Any questions so far? All right, perfect. I will keep going. So if you're thinking about getting started, I did want to just include some basic information about pricing. Now this is I grabbed this straight from their website. If you haven't started using Asana yet and you're not sure whether or not it's a good fit, go ahead and just sign up for their basic plan. It's free. I think it allows for something like 15 members to be in your Asana workspace, if you will. That way you can go and you can kind of get set up and make sure it feels like it's going to be a good fit. And then if you decide to upgrade later to the premium or business, you can take advantage of some additional features. No surprise there. If you upgrade, you've got additional features that are available to you as well. So I think right now we're using the business plan because it allows for something called portfolios, which allows me to track, and I can show you this in a second, allows me to track all the open, for instance, onboarding projects that I may have currently, so that I can go over it with our ops team on a weekly basis. All right, so let's go ahead and play in Asana. So I went ahead and opened up Asana. So if you've never been in here before, if you log in, most of the work initially is done on the right-hand side. So this is your navigation. So this is going to include things like your home screen, tasks that you may have to work on. Inbox, this is kind of what you could think of as email, along with portfolios. Now, just a reminder, portfolios, again, is in one of the upgraded plans. But just to show you what that looks like, that allows me to put like onboarding status all in one place so I can see how things are tracking as well. And then from there, we've got things like my favorites. I'll go back to home so you don't have to look at all that craziness, but you can favorite certain projects that maybe you're working on over others. It also has reports for things like tasks that I've created or assigned to others. So that's a question that I've gotten from other people. You know, does Asana allow you to assign tasks to others? Yes. And then can I see those tasks that I've assigned to others so that I can kind of, again, keep a track on that. So this is the area that you'd be able to go and see that. And then also recently completed tasks as well. And then from there, you can create your own teams. So you may have teams for events or committees or things like that. This is where you can kind of break those out as well. So going back to the home page, I'll pause there. Any questions on any of that?
Did you guys choose, did you have something before you chose Asana, or was this your first project management?
So we played around a little bit with Trello. I've used it in probably 3 other jobs. I've never fully adopted Trello, I'll just be completely honest.
I will chime in and agree with that because Trello and I do not get along.
Yeah, at its base level, it has some similar functionality. You can create different boards, different tasks. I think the user intuitiveness on Asana is just leaps and bounds. It's just easier to use. It's easier for us. We were onboarding, brand new customers who've never even used this. So the tool set had to be easy for them to pick up and use too. Ian, I don't know, did you use Asana before?
Yes, I've used, in past lives, I've used Asana and I've used Trello, and then we use Asana again right now. Trello, I'm with you, it's just not very user intuitive, and like it requires so much manual moving of things, whereas Asana will automate the moving of things for you, and the way you check things off is way easier, and it's just, you can keep information in the same place way simpler, because Trello, it's just all over the place.
I feel a little bit like that too. Now Asana is a little bit more expensive per user. But again, I think if you're using it for project management, what have you, I think it's definitely worth the investment. So thank you, Ian. Appreciate that. Okay, so all different types of projects, and we'll talk about the different types of projects that you can manage in Asana. But just to show you how to get started, let's just say maybe you've got a new project that you're working on, so you can do a new project. Now notice I can use a template that I may have already created, or I can start with a blank template. So or just a blank project, excuse me. So in this case, let's just say maybe it's blank project, the GSA webinar, and maybe I want to make the default view board. So I'll show you what that looks like. So that's it. That's how simple it is to create a new project. And then from here, I will show you a couple things. So I just showed you that mentioned that I wanted to set this up in board view. Notice that you can also do this as list view. So whatever your preference is on there, some people really like the cleanliness of the list view. Some people like the board because you can really easily drag and drop. But just a couple things there. So,
Can I real quick? So
yeah.
for people who are unaware of what Trello is like, this page here is basically what Trello can do. You can only view in a board layout. You have to manually move all the tasks, whatever. You see, for me, I am either a list view or a calendar view person. So this is where Asana then comes in to help me, because I can either do list view or calendar view, and I don't ever have to touch this board view.
Yes. I think that's a really good, clear distinction, because everybody works a little bit different, right? And we'll talk about getting the team to adopt. But this is one area. If you've got people that are more visual, they may like this board better. Whereas if you've got somebody who likes very clean lists and be able to kind of work down, this list view is really great. So it's the same thing, it's just a different way to view it, and it's completely your preference. So you can just quickly flip between these two. To add a new task, if you're on the board, you just simply click the plus sign. And you'll just hit return, and it'll allow you to continue adding tasks. One of the cool things, again, about Asana is that you can assign teammates. So if I want to come in here and maybe I want to put Ian, you're in here, right? Ian, I'm assigning this to you. So congratulations, you just got a new task. And then in here, I would just say, you did. You probably just heard Ian's email go off, because it just let him know that he's been assigned a task. Now, one quick note about that is you can set your Asana email preferences. Some people prefer to get all those emails, and some people prefer to work more directly in Asana. So there is an area where you can decide, I want to get more emails or less emails, and you can change those preferences too. So maybe now we give it a description. This is a very nice description here. So this is going to be exactly, what this project is. This is basically your area to come in and set the stage for what this task specifically is going to be working on. So if I'm a manager and I'm assigning this to Ian, I'll probably want to go in here and give him as much information as humanly possible. And then maybe from there, I also want to come in and add some kind of file to this. Maybe it's a logo that needs to be included on the webinar, so you can come in here and attach that. And then I can also, just like Facebook, I can also come in here and say, Ian Webb, this task is ready to go. So this is another thing that I really like. Ian was talking about how it keeps everything in one place, and you can easily see that. So in addition to file sharing in the description, this is where you replace email and chat. This is where you can keep track of everything that's going on with the project in the comments. Another thing, this is minor, but I really love this about Asana. If you go and you type something in and you forget to hit comment and you come back like 2 days later, it will still be there. I've done this on multiple occasions. I'll forget to post something. It's like, hey, where's the instruction for this? I'm like, oh, I thought I already did that. And you come back in here, it's there. So I do love the fact that it allows you to save that work, especially if you've written out a bunch of content for this area.
And adding to what she's saying about the like how you can change your email preferences. So I am the kind of person that I like to get notified of any kind of change to anything. So as she was doing that, I'm watching my email come through that was like, Jennifer Norman added a description. Jennifer Norman uploaded a file. Like, I'm getting all of those emails, but Jason, my boss, he's not like that. He wants to have like just the end of the day. So he does like what do they call it? Like the daily digest or whatever. And it gives all of the things that happened that day in like one email. But so there's lots of different ways that you can do it.
Yes. Again, depending on the user. So for team adoption, different ways to view it, different ways to receive the communications. So I think that's really important. Thanks, Ian. Okay. Within each of these two, so I'll go to the list view now. So people set these up, depending on the project you're working on, people will set their list and their board up differently. So I've seen everything from to do, in progress, done, to different milestones, or even you may break it up by, if you're planning an event, for instance, you may break it up by logistics, marketing, anything that you may be doing for that event. And don't forget that you've got that template to copy event from event as well. So a couple things on this board. You've also got the ability, depending on your level of Asana that you've purchased, it also has a timeline. So for instance, if I came in here and gave Ian a timeline of tomorrow for this task, that's going to show up here as well. So if you've got the project in here and you've got it pretty planned out, you can also create the timeline and see how everything's going to flow. Again, good if you are looking at this from a management perspective, or you're the one that's overseeing this project as a whole. You can kind of see how from start to completion, you can plan it out with a start and end date in mind. You've also got the calendar. So I'm not in calendar quite as much. So Ian, feel free to chime in here too. But this, anytime you assign a deadline, a date, or anything like that, it's also going to pop up on your calendar here. So Ian, how do you use the calendar to your advantage?
Let me actually see if I can pull up my Asana real quick, because I use the calendar quite regularly. That's probably, I would say, my preferred usage. So let me see. Can I share my screen as well? Is that a thing? Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Oh, that's Christina. Hi, Christina. It said Evan on there. I didn't even look at the last name.
Okay. Can y'all see my screen?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay. So this is how. So this is, for example, this is our marketing plan. This is where I keep all of my things. You can basically ignore every date on here. They have all changed because then I have not had a chance to like actually do it yet. But so like I keep basically our 12-month running plan through. I do delete things when they're done. But so this is kind of as it is in a list view. And if you look over here, this. So if you look here, it has all the tags, and I keep things in projects so that projects will tie, say that this is, the thing for our awards program. Okay, well, I know that. So I can go into our awards, and all of my awards things are in here. I can save everything in there. So I am this person. I don't use the boards. The boards exist in terms of months here. Jason really likes the board view. I don't. Calendar is kind of where my brain lives, because I get to see, this is basically for me having a calendar that is unlike having my, Outlook calendar that's tied to something. So I don't have to worry about, where, my marketing plan things getting mixed in with my like actual things that I have to be at. So, if I go into each of these things, I can, so let's see, this is an example. So this is pressing news for tomorrow. We haven't started planning yet. So normally what we would do is in here is this is where we would put in all of our information. This is our newsletter. So, including the articles that we're going to include, any graphics that we're going to include. We've been thrown into the wolves right now with, stuff. So, but this is kind of just from my viewpoint of seeing it. And then because we don't do stuff on the weekends, I hid Saturday and Sunday. You can see them, they're over here in the corner. But I just kind of like throw them away. So otherwise for me, this is my way of getting able to see where like my marketing stuff plan lies. This is all of our communication. And then it's all color coded based on what it is. So if it's the darker blue, it's a social post. If it's the tealy color, that's our awards program and personal contact. And then if it's just a plain orange, that's just a general email blast membership. So yeah.
This is fantastic. I love it. I could not look at the board view. If that, I would totally use calendar and list view for that as well. Board view is overwhelming. It's a lot, and for sure.
Yeah, I just can't do the board when I've got so much stuff, because it's all, it's very specific things.
Yeah, I agree. One other thing, when you were showing that, Ian, it reminded me, within each of these tasks, so Asana calls these tasks, you can also assign subtasks. So you were talking about the article that you had to write. Maybe you need to get some pictures and a couple quotes. You can also come in here and within these tasks create subtasks. And again, if you're using a template, all these subtasks will transfer over as well. And then within a subtask on a task, you can even assign these out as well. So if you've got somebody overseeing this task, but maybe multiple people working on completing this, you can also assign these out as well and talk back and forth in the chat.
So on that point, are you guys actually storing the pictures in those subtasks? Is that where you're putting everything?
So that is going to depend on how you all as a team decide to use Asana. If you want that information to go within the subtask, absolutely. Make that this is how we're going to use it. The pictures need to go in the subtask. That's where we're going to find them. If it's more of I just want everything in this task and I want it all on the main task so I can easily reference it, maybe that'll work better for you too. So I think it just ultimately depends on what you're using it for and how you want to use it as a team, but I would just be consistent either way.
Yeah, I'll chime in, Heather. So we, normally for our magazine or our newsletters, we'll basically use like how Jen has created here, GSA webinar schedule is the task. Our task would be print Q Q2. And our subtasks will basically be because I lay it out. So basically it's cover, page 2, page 3, and then it'll be by basically article or whatever. And so then all of the assets that go with that article for us will live in each subtask. So it's not we have a thing that's pictures for the whole magazine, whatever. We have, the pictures, the logos, the text, the signature, whatever is being included for, this article that's going to be between pages 3 and 5, that's in its own subtask. So all of those things are then combined together. So it's like a package in a way.
Yep. Agreed. Especially for that use. If you just put images and all that stuff, you'd never know where they are supposed to go.
Yeah.
Definitely use the subtask. Love it. All right, perfect. So let's just look at a couple more things that you have in here. I think progress may also be one of the higher tiers, but progress is a way to basically give anybody that's in this task, you can come in here and set a status and it'll give them an update. So is it on track, at risk, or off track? And then of course you want to probably add a message. So it can even be an update April 7th meeting, assets acquired. I'm going to spell things wrong probably. Let's see. Waiting on X to complete final steps. Always harder to type when you are sharing your screen, right? And then you can set a status. Maybe this is on track, everything's good. It also gives you I know this is a higher tier, the ability to create milestones. Now we in particular use this for our customer onboarding because we break our onboarding up into 6 different milestones. So within those milestones, there's different tasks. So as those milestones get checked off, and I'll just show you what this looks like. So as the kickoff gets completed and everything's done, you can check off these milestones. So it's just another way to look at the project at kind of a higher level as well.
This does not come in the free version, which is what we use.
It's a cool little tool. For us, it made sense to acquire this. It just got really dark outside. It's weird. You also have the ability to use forms. This is actually something new to Asana. Again, I think it's with a higher level. But if you wanted to create forms, questionnaires, survey, you could also do this. We haven't really broken into this yet, but I figured it's worth noting. And then you've also got the ability to do conversations. So this is, in my opinion, this is where you can definitely replace email. So if you've got just a general conversation that you want to have, it's maybe not about a particular task, it's just about the project as a whole. This is where you can kind of think of this. This is your subject line for your email, and then your message here. And then of course you can actually at people as well in this case too. Let's see. I think those are the main things that I wanted to go over in Asana itself. I'll pause here for questions, or if you guys want to see anything, or Ian, if there's anything else that you want me to show too, I can do that as well.
Jen, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
When you're in the list or the board view, so you assigned Ian a task for tomorrow. Tomorrow, does that task automatically go to that done folder or board, or do you manually move that when it is actually done?
So once it's complete, so let's go find, do that, give you a little bit more real estate. So you're saying
you could show the, if you have access to the PIAG one, you could show like one of the things that we just finished on our onboarding.
Yes, let's do that. I think my computer, my screen just froze.
It did.
What is happening?
It's that dark cloud.
It is. Here, we'll just pull Asana back up. All right. Ian, did you know we have an internal onboarding board for you too?
I figured.
The other side. Okay. What did you want to look at? Showing the completion?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just say that Ian goes and in list view.
Okay, you can actually do an example. We're done with the resume and equipment boards. I just haven't done it yet, so you could show like how that works.
Perfect. So you could actually just click off right here, and it'll gray everything out. And you probably saw this too. Asana tries to gamify a little bit in here. So if you check off like multiple things, or you're working in here, it'll like shoot unicorns. And if you're in board view and you move things, you've got like little Bob the monster who like pops up. I don't know, I named him Bob for the sake of whatever, but he'll pop up and come out from time to time too. So, and then from here you can actually just drag and drop and then keep your open tasks towards the top here. Now, if you're on board view, again, it's just going to depend on how you set everything up. So if you're doing like a to-do, doing, done, then yes, you'd probably want to drop it, you know, through the queue, if you will. But otherwise, let's just go find that.
But you would manually do that. Asana's not going to automatically do that based on a due date that you've assigned.
Correct, because Asana doesn't know that you've set it up as to-do, doing, done. It just knows that you've got column headers.
Gotcha.
So in that case, you can drag it around. But just say that this was not complete in board view. You could, again, it's going to look active and not grayed out. You can mark it complete here, and you can drag and drop this around too.
And there's also a setting. So because these are tasks, subtasks are a little different because they still live within, you know, like a larger project. So if you check out a subtask, it won't go away because you know that it's a part of a bigger thing. But there is a setting that you can set up to where if you like say you check that off, it'll archive it immediately. So it'll just go off your board. I don't have that checked. I obviously they don't have it checked, but I don't have it checked either because I want to know like what I have done and so what needs to be done. There's a little bit of visual satisfaction when you're like, look at all that I've accomplished, and there's so much less to do now. So I keep it on track for that, but you know, if you want it to be a lot cleaner, you could set up that setting.
So it sounds like if you set up a task anybody that's in that project group can see that task. Does that sound right? But then only the person who assigned it, or the person who it's assigned to can mark it complete.
So technically, I think anybody can mark it complete, but it's also going to say who marked it complete. So like if we go and look at this guy, for instance, it's going to say Jenn Norman just marked this complete 1 minute ago. So it's got a full audit log. So if Jen's not supposed to be marking this complete, like Melanie's probably going to be like, why is Jenn marking my onboarding complete? Then, you know, she knows to go to Jenn, hey, why did you mark this complete in this case? So
It's a tattletale.
Yeah, and even though things are within teams, you can also create like private projects. So can you show on the side like bar, Jenn, just like the teams section?
Yep.
So like you see how these are, it's like the Novi customer success is a team. So technically everyone in there has access to all the things. However, like for example, we are, as PIAG, Jason and I have access to this Asana board, and but we don't have access to the rest of them. So you can lock down each specific project, different people, not necessarily the same teams. So like, if I do something that's for our, insurance marketing, I want to only lock that down to Jason and Patsy, who's our insurance manager. I don't want everyone on our team to be able to see what we're doing, because I don't want anyone else like going around to mess in with it. So that's just you can customize it to see who can see things, but anyone who has access to the board can mark it complete.
Wow.
And especially if you're working on a little bit more sensitive projects or something that's maybe under the wrap, you're doing like, I don't know, a big brand launch or an unveiling, you may want to lock some of those assets down, especially if you've got a pretty large team or you've got potentially committee members or something like that could access this as well.
Or if you're, Novi and you bring in people who don't work for Novi.
Yes. Probably don't want them to have access to everybody else's boards. So any other questions on that? Or any questions on while we're just kind of in Asana before I keep going? Cool. All right, so just a couple, if you're wondering kind of what types of projects, Ian already showed his marketing project. That's fantastic. I love how you use the marketing calendar. It's actually giving me inspiration for my own, so thank you for that. But I think Asana can be really beneficial for onboarding. A few use cases I've already mentioned, we onboard our new customers. We needed something that was an easy tool to adopt and use, so that's one of the reasons I mentioned we went with Asana. But you can also use it, and we also use it to onboard new team members. So this is a great way to put some of that historical knowledge and information and some of those initial setup tasks and all that stuff in Asana as its own board. So we've got a section, we've got a team just for onboarding, new team members specifically. Interns, if you have used interns, you're using interns currently, similar to a new team member, this is a great way to set up a project and again, give them some initial tasks, be able to manage that from afar, but also give them that historical information. I hear a lot of times, I don't want to spend the time or I don't have the time to get interns up and running when really I could end up doing that myself. So this might be a way that you could utilize interns and be able to manage them, again, remotely, without having to kind of micromanage or do things through email. I thought about two other things, new members into your association. So if you do a new member one-on-one, you could create a let's just say you do a quarterly new member one-on-one, you could actually create a board and have them go through and check off, go in and log into the website, register for your first event, like send an email, what have you. And I thought it might even be kind of fun. You could gamify it. Whoever finishes it first and the new member 101 gets a piece of swag or something like that. That could be kind of fun, or maybe they get points and, whoever ends up with the most points at the end kind of thing. It might be a new fun way to get your members to kind of adopt into the association. So I thought that might be kind of neat. And then also your committee members, just like new team members or interns, you can go in and set up, that historical knowledge about the committee, documentation, references you might need, contact lists of other committee members. You can put dates on the calendar for when you guys may meet. So those are just a few ways that you can use it for onboarding. I've also heard people using it for even a board meeting agenda. So here are the things we're going to talk about tonight. Your meeting notes can even go right in there. You can assign tasks out and subtasks out to your board members, what have you, and use that to see how things are tracking from month to month and keep things moving. Plan your events. So especially if you've got events that are similar in nature, you could come in and again, you could create a board and you might have, one column or in your list view, one header as, again, I think I mentioned this, but logistics, maybe another one for marketing, so that you keep all that, you keep everything organized in place. And again, you can check things off as you go through. Ian already spoke about this a little bit, but rolling out your next publication or your marketing efforts. And then I've also seen where people use it as their own, like daily, weekly to-do list, because again, you can assign out tasks. You could even create your own board. Asana put out a blog post, I think it was last week. And I thought this was kind of cool to create like what's called a drop-in project right now, especially since people are working remotely. So in this case, your teammates would have access to this board, but you can break things up into actionable tasks. And it may be that Mary Lou comes in and she says, hey, Wendy, do you want to grab coffee on Monday? I hope you're not grabbing coffee on Monday, or at least if you do, at least 6 feet apart right now. But you can come in here and you could create like actionable tasks. People could add things in here. You can have reference documents and things just for fun. So I thought this was kind of a neat way to use Asana, especially since people are pretty remote right now.
Do you mind, Jen, if I share real quick? I just want to show an example of you just said about planning an event, and we kind of did a trial run last year with using Asana to plan our main event that we do an awards ceremony in
Love it.
August. So this is a very simple setup. We didn't really do a lot going on here. There's no, assigning tasks. There's no tagging anything. Now I know what to do, whatever. But so, we basically we kept up here a running list. We started this probably in April, May. And so obviously this questions for venue section changed all the time because it was whatever we had. So this was whatever got left over from the end of the year. But, this is where we keep all of our questions we wanted to ask the venue. And so that way, Jason and I, or our accountant, if she had questions, like we're not emailing each other about like questions to ask and trying to remember a list. We're keeping it in one place that we all have access to. And then this was our pre-event preparation. So like, it's an award ceremony. So obviously we want to know. So I kept track of, when I ordered awards and when they arrived and stuff. And I kept those in the comments. Keeping track of basically, this was a very simple way of doing this where we're like done, this date or whatever. And we didn't check anything off. We just kept it. And then we kept it in a very specific order because this was the order that we actually needed to do things in. And so then we also kept our packing list as like things that we knew that we needed to bring with us to the event. And then we kind of kept like a day of and an after of things that we knew that we needed to do. And so this was more of like a less interactive part and more of a static part that kind of became an informational tool within our organization, but not necessarily something that we were like actively working on, if that makes sense.
That's cool. For the
I'm sorry. Do these things like stay in history? So you kind of have like you can say, what did we do last year?
Oh yeah. So you can delete a project. We archive all of our projects. I don't know if y'all do it Novi or not. I just want to be able to refer back to whatever I want. And so then what I did is I duplicated the 2019 project and then made that the 2020 project because I knew that this was the stuff that we needed. So it just created a copy of it. And then I've gone through and I've deleted all the 2019 information off of it. I'll add more things in then I just archive the project. So it's still there forever, but it's just hidden basically.
And then one tip, Ian, that you may want to use is once you duplicate it and you erase everything that's that you don't need from the previous year, create it as a template, and then the years after you can just kind of add
That's
to it.
good to know. I didn't know I could do that.
Yes, and then that way.
Can you do that in the free version?
I think so. We'll have to
Okay.
double check, but I would think they would have that in the free version to do as well. And then that way you don't have to keep deleting or forget to delete. That was awesome. Thanks for sharing. All right, so almost done here. A few tips and tricks. Some of these we've already discussed. But one, team adoption is critical. I can't stress this enough. If you're thinking about using Asana, making sure that 1 or 2 team members have kind of gone in, played around with it, and figured out, why are we using this? What's going to be the benefits? And communicating that to the team is extremely important. Asana actually has a pre-written email that you can come in and just plug in the details, so you don't even have to think about this. So if you wanted to use that, you could. This is an example of one. This is an example of the introduction to Asana task that we have for our customers that we onboard. So this is one of the very first things that we go over when we kick off. And it just talks about what Asana is, how we're going to be using it, how they should be using it. And it's just, again, it's another reference for them to go through, read through. And then this is their first homework assignment to learn Asana, is to actually use Asana. Check off the subtasks, things like that, attach a file, and things of that nature. So just make sure that you get the team to adopt. That's huge. Otherwise, if everybody's not on the same page, they'll never fully adopt it. You'll have emails going when they should really be in Asana and things of that nature. So I just mentioned this, but use the template feature for recurring projects. This is one that we created, and you'll see it even just says this project is a template, and you can just come in and create a new project from this template from this page, or you can actually just do it from, there's that plus sign as well. Be agile. So I think everybody's being a little agile right now, but give yourself a little bit of grace when it comes to setting up Asana and learning how you're going to use it. Our onboarding Asana customer board looks drastically different today than it did a year ago, than it did 2 years ago. So as we continue to learn how Asana works and how we're working, and Asana brings new features, you're going to need to be agile to adjust things. So going back to team adoption, make sure that's one of the things that you mentioned is, hey, this is just our initial setup. We love your feedback. How can we make this work better? And make sure everybody in the team is kind of getting on board with that. This is just a quick one. Set yourself to away if you're going to be out. So just like your email has an away setting, Asana has an away setting. If you end up using Asana for committee projects or things like that, this is great. Especially if somebody's going to be out for a few days, they know that you're probably not going to get back to them. You don't typically work with this person, so you don't know that they'd be out. This is a great way to let people know that you're going to be out and through what dates. And then use their help resources. Ian, I don't know if you read any of their blogs continually or anything like that, but I think they do a really nice job of putting out articles, videos, use cases. They even have pre-formatted templates that you can start off with so that you're not having to start from scratch, and then you can just modify. So definitely
I agree with that.
Yeah, they're really good. And honestly, that's one of the other reasons that we chose to go with Asana. They've just been really good about, I think, helping to make sure you learn and adopt the platform as well. So, and then the last thing, I always like to end on a fun note. So since we're all in quarantine, here's a couple things. If you haven't downloaded the House Party app, it's kind of fun. It's basically, it combines FaceTime with gameplay. So you can get a bunch of your friends together in one room, if you will, and play Heads Up, Pictionary, things like that. So I've done this with, did it with my mom. She figured out the other day, so you can too. And I've done it with some of my friends. We did a Friday night house party all remotely. So get in there, download that, play around if you want. Also, for anybody that's just looking for a little fitness, whether it's mental, they've got Peloton has a free 90-day use of their app. They've got meditation, yoga, and then they've got other high intensity workouts, things of that nature. And then lastly, this is my favorite meme right now. Honey, before this quarantine over, some of y'all are going to be begging Jolene to take your man. So Jolene is my alter ego, and I just think that this was pretty funny. So Anyhow, that's all I had for my presentation. So do you guys have any other questions?
Yeah.
Or
That
if
was
anybody-
awesome. Thanks, Jen.
You're welcome. If anybody ends up watching the recording and you want to contact me after, anybody here as well, that's my email there. So feel free to give me a shout. Happy to answer any questions. Ian obviously is very knowledgeable in the topic as well, so he's a great resource too. But thank you for having me.
Yay, thank you. I mean, one other thing. So you're using a paid version and Ian's using the free version. So, and you all are both big fans. So that's helpful information.
And you can
I don't, obviously this is more for the association / foundation side of this, but if, this is more for people who are watching the recording. But if you have a TechSoup account, you can actually get the paid version of Asana for way cheaper. It's like $79 a year for the max everything with it, all the users and stuff. So it's way cheaper. You're not paying per user. So that's something to look into as well.
Oh, that's very cool. Yeah.
They used to have restrictions on C3 versus C6. So
Yes,
make sure
you have to have a C3. So if you have foundation, you could buy it under the foundation. We've talked about doing it. We're just, with basically it being, 2 to 3 of us at a time using it, the extra features don't really help us necessarily. But if we had, honestly, if we had probably more than 3 people that were actively using Asana, we would probably want to go for the more premium version.
Yeah. All right. I'll hand it back over to the GSAE folks.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, we've even used Asana before, and this was eye-opening. So I'm gonna stop the recording now, but everyone can see Jen's contact information. And obviously, if you need more info, we've got some great resources out here. So thanks, everybody.